I am happy to be speaking to an MMA legend in John Lewis about something that I didn't think I'd ever be talking to John Lewis about. All right, this is John. I just got to tell you, late last week, I get a press release in my inbox. Okay, Galactic Combat. It's a series that's going to take place with people fighting outside the Earth's atmosphere. And I read this thing and I think, I want to write something about this, but I don't even know if this is legit. Like, I have no idea if this is real. And then I see your names attached to it. And as soon as I see your names attached to it, I say, okay, wait a minute. There's something to this. This is real. So, John, tell me,
thank you.
How did this concept come about? Because, I mean, you were at the early days of MMA. You remember when just regular MMA was considered crazy. This, with all due respect, might be the craziest thing I've ever heard. So how did it come about?
It's crazy and it's amazing and it's really cool, man. One of my companies that I work with, Wonder Film Media, is I produce films and things of that nature. They introduced me to Andre and told me that he had a cool show he was working on, space-based. We met together and we started talking about it, and it was just perfect. I mean, I was already working in the space sector with some other films that I'm doing through Wonder Film Media, and also at the same time, my history. And when we first met, he didn't even know that the part about my MMA history. It was more about the space side of things that I was working on. So when that happened, it was just like, oh my God, this is like perfect. This is so perfect, And like I said earlier, I've been approached for so many different kinds of things like this over the years, different mixed martial art organizations, the bare knuckle ones, all these things, to become a part of those things. And they just weren't right for me. I was doing what I was doing, and I just knew that, I mean, you can't compete with the big dogs and Dana and Lorenzo and all those amazing things that they did. And I just knew that they just couldn't keep my attention. And then when this one came, I was like, this is it. This is the one, this is something special. And then and make it more important, more importantly, it was, Andre Irvolino, the brainchild of this whole thing, knowing who he is in the world of producing and what he's done and accomplished. His reputation is impeccable. Everybody loves him. He's done amazing projects with the biggest stars in the world. He's a real guy, a guy that can really make something happen. So when this idea was pitched to me, it could have been pitched to me by a million people, right? But when it came to me from him, in the same way that you say, I brought validity, his name brought that same validity. So, it just ended up being perfect, and we started moving forward from there, and here we are.
It's pretty funny. You think about the UFC. I know they always talk about global domination. Well, you'll just have to get outside the globe if you want a piece of it, right? That's great.
You're going to become the champion of the universe. You know what I mean? Who wants to be the champion of the universe? I know I would love to be that. I mean, too late for me now, but we hope we're going to pass it on to someone else, some young, talented kid.
That's amazing. So, all right. So you talk about Andre Arbolino in this project. There's a company involved, Space 11. So when I read this press release, I thought, like, who would even think to do this? Why would this even be a concept of taking athletes into space and filming something there? And then come to find out, that's basically what Space 11 is built around, right? Is developing entertainment options that are filmed in space. I mean, how much do you know about this segment, John? And I mean, help us. Me, man. I'm living inside the MMA bubble. I didn't even know things like this were a reality, that people can go shoot television shows in space.
We got to think, if you follow the press of some of these things in the film industry, you know that Tom Cruise is already working on something with SpaceX and going to space to shoot segments in a film coming up. He's working on, it's still something in process, but those are real conversations because, Tom, he wants to go up there and be the guy that does it for real, which is all due respect to him. But the technology exists. I mean, right now, Virgin Galactic and SpaceX and other companies, Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' company, they already are setting up situations where consumers can buy tickets and go to space and enjoy that situation. And they're already selling tickets for that as the technology is coming to fruition. So that's a real thing. It's not some crazy idea that some technology they need to achieve. It's more about finding the right partners for the concept that we have and making it a reality, but it can be done already. Right now, they're working on building space stations like a hotel where you will fly up to space and one of these different companies, and you'll actually be able to stay for a week in space, in a space station, the same way you would on a cruise on a ship. So these are all very real things that already exist. And we just, we want to take sports up there. We want to make it happen. One of Andre's big dreams is to create the first space station stadium where you actually have a sporting stadium in space. If you can have a hotel in space, why can't you get on the space shuttle or spacecraft and fly over a couple, whatever, and go to see the fights or go see anything, a concert, for instance. So if you think about anything that ever happened to us in history, it's always been a big dream. And at the end of the day, look where we are, from electricity to a car to being on the moon. So why not? And if this guy is the kind of guy that can really make it happen, which is why I'm involved and all in.
That's pretty amazing. So the way the concept reads, you're gonna select 40 fighters from around the globe and train them and get them ready. But it'll get down to you'll follow their training, I guess, and their development. Then it'll get down to 8, and then you'll finally get down to 2, and you'll take these 2 athletes beyond the Earth's atmosphere, and it'll have some type of specially fitted ship, and they'll compete in there. But to be clear, they are going to fight at zero gravity, because I hear about this this specially fitted rocket. It's not designed so there's I guess there is no way to combat zero gravity, right? I mean, they're going to fight at zero gravity.
So here's the thing: we're going to really go out of our way to respect and hold dear the traditions of MMA, which is my history, right, and my people. There will be, like you said, 40, 32, whatever the first number is going to be of athletes that we're going to search the globe for. I mean the globe because we want to be international, and find these incredibly talented guys that aren't quite haven't broke yet, but they are that good, And we want guys like that because we want guys who are really hungry, who really want to be a pioneer in something and have a chance to do something really special. We're going to find those guys, we're going to bring them together, and we're going to have them compete and train first to find out if they qualify. As much as the qualifying for the MMA is going to be the qualifying for the space training and those kinds of things. The same way that astronaut trains for 5 years or more, you have to make sure you can pass certain kind of tests and certain kind of agility tests and all the different kinds of things that you're going to see in the show. And you may be great at fighting, but you may not pass the other tests, So this whole thing from beginning to end, TV series, by the way, from beginning to end is going to be combined equally with mixed martial arts and the space train from professionals in the industry. So you're going to get to see, the coolest MMA guy in a G-force machine spinning around, passing out. I mean, it's going to be a really cool thing, but at the same time, it's also preparing them for what could happen. We're going to incorporate in the very beginning. It will be arena style TV events where you're going to see those first when it goes down to the 8. Compete together and try to achieve the goal to become in the semifinals. Semifinals will look like kind of like parabolic space flight. Are you familiar with that? Parabolic planes is when you see the plane fly and we have a really amazing concept. I'm not going to get too much into it right now, where you're actually going to be fighting in that scenario. By the way, when you're on the incline, gravity gets really, really heavy. When you're in a decline, you float up. Imagine the fight happening in real time. The fighter's just fighting and it's changing that scenario as it goes up and down. All of a sudden you're up, and it's going to have to be a close enough proximity that you can actually get to each other. Because as space isn't on space in the room isn't your best friend in this situation because you're so far apart to get back at the whole thing. So it'll be a tighter, more impact, more close situation. And I think it would really be cool. I've been thinking about this. I think grappling will really come into play in this situation, because if you hit somebody, you can actually push yourself away in space, right? But if you grapple, jiu-jitsu, whatever, you can actually lock onto someone mid-space, trying to put on the moves that we learn in jiu-jitsu and all these moves while you're in a specific situation in contact. So I think that's going to become a real factor. But a lot of this is going to be worked on over the next year and a half. I'll be getting to try a lot of this stuff myself and really find out how this is going to really work. But it's going to be amazing. It really is going to be amazing.
So what the scenarios that you laid out there, that's what's so intriguing, right? I mean, those of us that have watched MMA for years, it's like, how would it play out? Right. Has this ever been done? I mean, are you aware? Does the Army do combative trainings in zero gravity or anything? I mean, do you have any idea what this will actually look like in practice?
I don't know. I mean, we have the Space Force now. I'm not sure if that's part of their training curriculum yet. But before that, I would probably think it didn't happen. But I've seen my share of fun movies and those fun battles in space, and I can imagine how it could happen. And I think this is just like I say, taking MMA, its roots, having those shows, having those clients, those artists, building who they are, building their characters, all those things that we're so used to seeing, mixed with the training, but then taking to that next level next level in the semifinals and finals. That's where it's going to be unique. We're going to evolve on the concept. We're going to, evolve on the possibilities, which will just open doors for people in the future, and it's going to be a really neat thing to see how that plays out. And why not? This is something unique. It's something very real. It will not just be a thing that we do. I mean, it will change the game. We had the first man to walk on the moon. These will be the first people to do a sporting event in space. This is historic. Someone would be able to say, I was the first guy or the first two guys to ever do a sporting event in space. That will be a historical moment.
That's pretty amazing to think about. I know you're still, working on all the logistics and partnerships and all that. So I know that you can't talk about everything, but I got to ask, cost of this thing, right? I mean, this is not going to be something you can do on a shoestring budget. I mean, can you go into numbers as to how it's going to look, or how you get it, or how you get the funding done? Because like I said, I can't imagine it's a cheap thing to do.
Well, we have the funding, so it's not like we have to make this happen. I won't be specific about numbers because a lot of that's coming into play right now as well. But whatever number you're thinking of is probably much more. and we're very aware, and we have those plans in place, and we have obviously our own money, and we also have a lot of people that want to be involved in that level. So it will be very expensive, like you're imagining, and that is part of it all. But it's something we want to do, and we're prepared to do, and I think it's something groundbreaking like this is where you want to invest that kind of money and make that kind of change and be part of this. So it's going to be crazy expensive, but we don't have a solid number to tell you yet anyways. But sure, it's probably more than you're thinking.
I bet I can't even comprehend that kind of money. So let me ask, I mean, where do we stand in the schedule? I mean, are we talking about, we know when this thing's going to go into production and we know when it's going to shoot, or are we still arranging all that?
In 2022, you're going to see a lot of the first parts of it all happening. The fighters coming down, finding our fighters, the first few events, arena events, things of that nature in around 2022. We imagine that actually getting to the end of it all, which is basically 12 episodes and a pay-per-view event, maybe a few pay-per-view events, but as of now, that's what it is at that point in 2023 sometime. So it's not that far away, but you don't have to wait till 2023 to see the whole thing. It'll be a long shoot of the TV series from 2022 on. So it's not that far away.
Pretty amazing. And I guess broadcast platform not secured yet. That's probably one of the last pieces of the puzzle to get done.
Yeah, definitely. Right now we're putting the pieces together, showrunners, etc. And then we'll be doing a TV deal. I'm sure we'll have a lot of people interested in this. And then, from there, the announcements will start and the actual events and shows will begin. And like I say, it'll be something you'll be able to watch on a weekly basis on TV, building characters. And we have a lot of other spots we're going to be buying as well throughout the day, just develop little segments, just developing the people, developing these characters and really helping you understand who they are. But it's not just like, who they are like you would normally see in other shows. It's like, this is like someone who wants to go to space. This is a scary thing, right? I mean, they go to space right? It's scary for astronauts today to go to space. So this is someone who really wants to be a pioneer and really wants to be a part of history. So it's going to be a really unique person that does this, and it really wants to do this. And there's going to be scary aspects of it, but it's also going to be incredible glory for even being involved in it, not to mention becoming the champion of the universe.
It's crazy though when you say it. I mean, it really is. It's human history, man. It's amazing. So, all right, John. Well, listen. Like I said, when I got the press release, I thought somebody might be pulling my leg, man. So I appreciate you laying it all out there. I guess the last thing I would ask of you is just, I mean, what would the pitch be if other people out there like me and just say John Lewis has gone crazy, this man has gone to Hollywood and lost his mind. What would you tell them about why no, this is something that's going to happen and it's worth your time to invest in?
I say you can think what you want to think right now, and you can either be part of it or you can just watch it on TV. So I don't care what they want to say. We're going to do what we're going to do, and we're going to make it happen. And the people that are smart enough to see the future, like we have done in history for so long, those are going to be the ones that benefit from it. The audience is going to love it and just have a great time watching the show. And we're going to expand on the concept of mixed martial arts and not change it, just expand on them, and have a lot of fun with it at the same time. So, I invite all of my, mixed martial art friends and fans and people like yourselves just to stay tuned. And, I appreciate you taking the time to help us out with this and get it out there. And it's just going to be a great thing. You definitely should get an interview with Andre Rivellino, even if it's just him alone, because he is a brainchild and he can answer a lot more from that side of it. And I think it'd be a very interesting conversation. And people should know who this guy is. He's a special guy. That's
awesome. I look forward to talking to him too. Well, John, it's always a pleasure to catch up with an old school legend like yourself, but not only an old school legend, on the new school now. I mean, totally new school. So I look forward to staying in touch with you as this project develops, because it still seems crazy to me, but I want to watch it.
As it develops and you want to get us back on, you let us know. We'll be there.
Awesome, John. Pleasure, brother. Great to hear from you.